English Studio, where learning English is easy and fun. I'm Amelia, and today we're going to talk about something really important that we all need to practice: how to talk about ourselves in English. It's one of those things that can feel a little tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, it opens up so many conversations and connections. I'm so excited to have my friend James here with me today to help us explore this topic together. James, welcome.
Hello, Amelia. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here with you today. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Hi, James. How are you doing today? You seem really relaxed.
I'm doing great, thank you. And you? You look very happy today.
I am very happy today. I'm excited for our topic today because I know this is something that so many English learners struggle with. You know, when someone asks, "Tell me about yourself," and your mind just goes blank. We've all been there, right?
Oh yes, it's a very good topic, very important. I think it's one of the first things we learn, but also one of the most important skills to master.
Exactly. But before we start, I want to mention that if you enjoyed today's episode, please remember to subscribe to our channel, yes, and click the like button, and please share our podcast with your friends and family. It helps us a lot, it really does. Okay, so James, are you ready to dive in?
Absolutely, I'm ready when you are.
Great. So let's start with the basics. When someone asks you to talk about yourself, what's the first thing that comes to mind? What do you usually say?
Well, it really depends on the situation. If it's a casual conversation, I might start with where I'm from and what I do. But if it's more formal, like a job interview, I'd be more structured. But the common thread is always sharing something personal that helps create a connection.
That's such a good point. The context really matters, doesn't it? So maybe we should break this down by different situations. Let's start with the most common one, meeting someone new casually. What would you say in that situation?
In a casual setting, I'd probably say something like, "Hi, I'm James. I'm from London originally, but I've been living in New York for about 5 years now. I work as a teacher, and in my free time, I love hiking and reading." Something simple and gives them a snapshot of who I am.
Perfect. And that's exactly what we want, a snapshot, not your entire life story. I love how you included both work and personal interests. That makes you more memorable. You know, I think a lot of people make the mistake of either saying too much or too little.
Exactly. The key is balance. You want to share enough to be interesting, but not so much that you overwhelm the other person. It's like a good appetizer, just enough to make them want to know more.
I love that analogy. So what are some common mistakes people make when introducing themselves?
Well, one big mistake is being too vague. Saying "I'm James and I like things" doesn't really tell anyone anything. Or the opposite, going on for 5 minutes about your entire life history. Another one is forgetting to ask questions back. Introductions should be a two-way street.
That's so true. I've definitely been guilty of that, getting so focused on what I'm saying that I forget to engage the other person. So what's a good way to invite them to share about themselves?
Something simple like "What about you?" or "Where are you from?" works perfectly. It shows you're interested in them too, not just talking about yourself.
That makes so much sense. Let's think about this from a student's perspective. What if someone is really nervous about speaking English? What advice would you give them?
I'd say start small. Maybe just practice with a mirror first. Say your name, where you're from, and 1 or 2 interests. Then try it with a friend or classmate. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And remember, everyone is usually focused on themselves, not judging you.
That's such good advice. I remember when I was learning a new language, I was terrified to introduce myself. But the more I did it, the easier it got. You know, there's something really powerful about being able to share who you are with someone in their language.
Absolutely. It's like opening a door to connection. And the great thing is, even if your English isn't perfect, people appreciate the effort. Most people are happy to help and encourage you.
That's such an important point. Let's talk about different situations. What about introducing yourself in a professional setting, like a job interview?
That's a bit different because it's more structured. I'd probably start with my name, then my professional background, and what brings me to this opportunity. Something like, "Hello, I'm James, and I have 5 years of experience in teaching English as a second language. I'm excited about this position because..."
So it's more focused on your professional self rather than personal interests.
Exactly. In professional settings, you want to highlight your skills and experience that are relevant to the situation. But it's still important to show some personality. Maybe mention a relevant interest or achievement that makes you stand out.
That makes sense. What about online introductions, like in a class or forum?
Online can be a bit different because you have more time to think. I'd suggest writing it out first, maybe practicing it a few times. You can be a bit more detailed since people can read at their own pace, but still keep it concise and engaging.
Good point. Let's think about cultural differences. Are there any cultural considerations when introducing yourself in English?
That's a great question. In some cultures, it's common to be more reserved, while in others, people are very open. In English-speaking cultures, there's generally an expectation of some personal sharing, but not too much too soon. It's about finding that balance.
So it's like the sweet spot of sharing, not too little, not too much.
Exactly. And it varies depending on the situation and the person you're talking to. That's why context is so important.
Let's talk about some useful phrases. What are some essential phrases for self-introduction?
Well, obviously, hello, my name is, or I'm. Then I'm from, for where you're from. I work as, or I'm a student, for your occupation. And in my free time, I enjoy, for hobbies. Those are the basics.
What about more advanced phrases for when you want to sound more natural?
You could say, nice to meet you, or it's a pleasure to meet you. Or let me tell you a little about myself. For hobbies, instead of just saying I like, you could say I'm really into, or I have a passion for. That sounds a bit more natural.
I love those alternatives. They do sound more conversational. Let's practice with a scenario. Imagine we're at a party and someone new comes up to us. How would you introduce yourself?
I'd probably say something like, hi there, I'm James. It's great to meet you. I don't think we've met before. I'm from London originally, but I've been living in New York for a few years now. What about you? Where are you from?
Perfect. And you immediately turned it back to them with, what about you? That's exactly what we talked about earlier. You know, I think the most important thing is to be genuine. People can tell when you're being authentic versus when you're just reciting something.
Absolutely. Authenticity is key. If you're genuinely interested in connecting with someone, that comes through in your introduction.
What if someone asks you to talk about yourself in a more detailed way? Like, tell me more about yourself.
Then I'd expand a bit, maybe share a story or example about my work or interests. Like, well, I've been teaching for 5 years, and one of the things I love most is seeing my students progress. Just last week, one of my students who was really struggling with pronunciation finally got it, and it was such a rewarding moment.
That's a wonderful example. Sharing a specific story makes it so much more engaging than just listing facts. You know, I think that's one of the secrets, using stories to illustrate who you are.
Exactly. Stories are memorable. Facts are forgotten, but stories stick with people.
Let's talk about body language. How important is that when introducing yourself?
Very important. Eye contact, a smile, good posture, all convey confidence and openness. Even if you're nervous, putting on a friendly face can make a big difference.
That's so true. I remember reading somewhere that body language communicates more than words in the first few seconds of meeting someone. So what if you're really nervous? Any tips for that?
Take a deep breath before you start. Remember that the other person is probably just as nervous as you are, and focus on them, not on yourself. When you're focused on making them comfortable, your own nervousness tends to fade.
That's such a helpful perspective shift. Instead of thinking, I hope I don't mess up, think, I want to make this person feel welcome. Let's practice another scenario. What if you're in a group setting and need to introduce yourself?
In a group, I'd keep it even shorter. Hi everyone, I'm James. I'm from London and I love hiking. Then maybe add one more detail if there's time. Groups move faster, so you want to be concise.
Good point. What about online introductions in a class? How would that be different?
Online, you can be a bit more detailed since people can read at their own pace. I might write something like, hello classmates, I'm James and I'm excited to be in this course. I'm from London and have been teaching English for 5 years. I'm looking forward to learning from all of you and sharing what I know. In my free time, I enjoy hiking and reading, especially science fiction.
That's perfect for an online setting. You included your name, background, what you're looking forward to, and a personal interest. Let's talk about common questions people might ask after you introduce yourself.
The most common ones are about where you're from, what you do for work, and your interests. So where are you from originally? What do you do for work? What do you like to do in your free time? Being prepared to answer these helps the conversation flow naturally.
What if someone asks something you don't want to answer, like your age or salary?
That's a good point. In English-speaking cultures, some topics are more private. You can politely redirect or give a general answer, like, I'd rather not say, but I can tell you about my experiences in this field. Or, I'm at a point in my career where…
That's a great way to handle it, being polite but setting boundaries. Let's think about this from a student's perspective again. What if English isn't their first language? Any specific tips?
I'd say don't worry about perfection. Native speakers make mistakes too. Focus on being clear and genuine. Use simple words you're comfortable with. And remember, practice makes progress, not perfection.
That's such an important mindset. I think a lot of language learners put so much pressure on themselves to be perfect. You know, remember when I was learning Spanish? I was terrified to speak, but the more I did it, the more I realized people appreciated the effort more than the perfection.
Exactly. Most people are happy to help and encourage you. And if they're not, that's more about them than you.
Let's talk about confidence. How can someone appear more confident when introducing themselves?
Practice helps, but also remembering that you have value to share. Everyone has interesting experiences and perspectives. You don't have to be extraordinary to be interesting. You just have to be authentic.
That's such a powerful reminder. We're all interesting in our own ways. Let's do one more practice scenario. Imagine you're at a conference and someone asks you to introduce yourself to the group.
I'd probably say something like, "Good morning, everyone. I'm James, and I'm excited to be here today. I've been working in English language education for 5 years, focusing on interactive teaching methods. I'm particularly interested in how technology can enhance language learning. I look forward to learning from all of you and sharing ideas."
Perfect. You included your name, what you do, your specialty, and what you're looking forward to. That's exactly what you'd want in a professional conference setting. You know, I think the key takeaway here is that introductions are about connection, not performance.
Exactly. It's not about impressing people. It's about starting a conversation and finding common ground.
What are some ways to make your introduction more memorable?
Adding a unique detail or story can help. Instead of just, "I like reading," you could say, "I'm obsessed with science fiction. I've read every book in the Foundation series," or sharing something unexpected that relates to your interests.
That's a great tip. Specific details make you more memorable. Let's summarize what we've learned today. What are the 3 most important things to remember when introducing yourself?
First, be authentic. Don't try to be someone you're not. Second, be balanced. Share enough to be interesting, but not too much. And third, be curious. Show interest in the other person too.
I love that summary. Be authentic, be balanced, be curious. Those are such great guidelines. You know, I think the best introductions are the ones where both people feel comfortable and interested in continuing the conversation.
Absolutely. The goal is connection, not perfection.
James, this has been such a helpful conversation. I feel like we've covered so many practical tips that students can actually use.
I'm glad it was helpful. Introductions are such a fundamental part of communication, and getting them right can make a big difference in building relationships.
Before we wrap up, do you have any final words of encouragement for our listeners?
Just remember that everyone starts somewhere. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. Learning a language is a journey, not a destination.
That's beautiful advice. Thank you so much, James, for sharing your insights with us today. This has been incredibly helpful for our listeners.
My pleasure, Amelia. It's been great talking with you.
And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us today on Learning English Studio. Remember to practice your introductions, maybe start with a mirror, then try it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this episode with someone who might find it helpful. We'll be back next time with more tips for learning English. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye!